What's up, everyone? This is the Destroyer229, and welcome back to Let's Play Pokemon Colosseum. Last time, we snagged us a Shadow Togetic, the final Shadow Pokemon. And in this episode, I'm going to teach you guys a few tricks on how to purify your Pokemon, as well as show you the game's final secret. Now, when you want to know exactly how you're doing with purifying your Pokemon, when you go to save, it will show you how many Pokemon you've caught and how many you've purified. There are 48 Shadow Pokemon, so as you can see, I've caught all of them. But I've only purified 22 of them, so I've still got a ways to go. Method 1 of purifying Pokemon is Mount Battle, hence why I'm here at Mount Battle. That dude just slid. That was weird. What makes Mount Battle good is its large range of levels that you can use. I've only gotten up to 3 areas, so I don't really have that much of a range, but it's still easy enough for me to go through. Now, what's great with Mount Battle is that it does have a wide range of levels. Like I've said, I don't know, 15 seconds ago. It starts out at about level 13, and with each area, it grows by about 5 levels. Though Area 1 goes from about 13 to 20, Area 2 about 20 to 25. Area 3, starting off on the Battle 21, you can see we start off with level 25 Pokemon. So this just goes to 25 to 30. Area 4, about 30 to 35. It kind of wavers a little bit, but not too much. It usually stays with that order. Alright, now the purpose of going through Mount Battle isn't so that you can just get through this as quickly as possible. If you want to do that, go with your main party. But the point of going through Mount Battle is to purify your Pokemon. You do this through Hyper Mode. By going through Hyper Mode and then calling your Pokemon, you can raise, see how much Quillfish just got purified. In fact, it's almost ready to go. I completely lost my train of thought right there. I'm smart. But yeah, you can see Quillfish is just about ready to be taken over to a gate village. So probably after this fight I could... Okay, yeah, definitely after this fight I can go ahead and go to a gate village. And, oh, almost. So yeah, sometimes you'll have great luck with purifying. It really depends on your Pokemon. The lower leveled and weaker they are, the easier it is to purify. The stronger they are, the harder it is to purify. It just goes like that. And yay, Quillfish is pretty much purified. I mean, sometimes you'll have 6 purification, hyper modes in a row. And sometimes with Pokemon, you just won't get any. And is Quillfish actually ready? No, but with a tiny bit of walking, it will. Let's go with Meditite. So this is really good for your weaker level Pokemon to really purify. And actually, if you call them out of Hyper Mode, for some Pokemon, it can get rid of a ton of that bar. Good example is Bailey. Bailey, you snap it out of Hyper Mode, it can take out 3/4 of one section. It is amazing how much snapping Bailey out of Hyper Mode is to purifying it. But this is true with all Shadow Pokemon. It just really depends on the nature and what the Pokemon is in order to understand the best methods. Sometimes battling isn't the best method, but it still works because it's still easy to purify that one Pokemon. Now for Mount Battle, what makes Mount Battle good as opposed to other just going out to random trainers, not only because random trainers are really high leveled at post game, and we have level 30 Pokemon, well, some 40s as well. But what's great with Mount Battle is that you can head back. It says teleport to the registration encounter. Hit no. You can head back to the last rest area, and you can save and switch out your Pokemon. So if I so wanted, I can take Quillfish out of my party because it's ready to be purified, and substitute it for another Pokemon, say Gligar. So now I carry Gligar in my party, so that I can carry around with it and go through the Mount Battle challenge. You can save, and what's great about this method is that you don't have to re-challenge these trainers. Unless you leave Mount Battle. Then you have to re-challenge them. But if you're just going through it, you can just continue up through Mount Battle. And if you get to 99, like I mentioned previously, there is a time flute waiting for you. Although, chances are any Shadow Pokemon you're using isn't going to be good enough to get to that point. And by the time you reach that point through these purification processes, you're going to be pretty much done purifying every single Pokemon. Unless you go through all of Mount Battle with your main party. Which I'm not exactly sure why, because I have another use of them for purifying. Which we will get into right now, as soon as I can teleport back. The second method for purification is here at the Deep Colosseum. For this, you'd want to have your main party of Pokemon with you, because you're going to be up against some pretty strong opponents. Because remember, you're going through the same cycle as you did with Deep King. So you're going to have to go through Mirror B, Dakim, Lady Venus, all those guys. But it's well worth it. As you saw with my cash reward, it was about 20,000 Pokédollars. Except Deep King was about 10,000. But still, that's quite a bit of money from a Colosseum. And what you use this money for the Colosseum for is here in Agate Village. Now, why would you need money from Agate? It's for the Pokemart. Because Agate Village is the only place where you can buy scents. Scents help purify your Pokemon. They're actually a really good way, especially vivid scents. Now, before recording, I had like 150,000 Pokédollars. I went ahead and sold all the Pokeballs that I had, because you're not going to need them anymore. And just buy as many vivid scents as you can. I recommend only buying vivid scents, because it has the most effect. Now, using scents, for most Pokemon, I would recommend Mount Battle. But for your higher leveled Pokemon, if it's just taking a while, use the scents. This is especially true, and if you're wondering what I'm doing right now, I'm going to get my usual berry. Scents help out greatly, especially with the final Pokemon you get. Not necessarily the post-game Pokemon, but from Real Gam Tower. Those are the type of Pokemon that you typically want to use the scents for. Also, the legendary beasts. Unless you go to the daycare. Daycare and scents are how I would recommend you purify any of the 5 Pokemon that you would use a Time Flute for. Remember, that is the legendary beasts, Metagross, or Tyranitar. Use time flutes only on those Pokemon. How's Raikou doing? 12,800. Let's see how it's doing. You take your sweet time. Like how they say, fine, take your lovely Pokemon with you. Fine then. And so, I mean, look how much. I've had Raikou in here for a really long time. And 12,800 get you this much. I mean, I'm pretty sure with a Vivid Scent or two, Raikou's going to be ready to be fully purified. In fact, let's find out. By using the sense, your controller will vibrate a little bit. Just 3 times real quick. So, just a little heads up there. And, one more. See, even Vivid Sense, they don't really seem like they do all that much. But using enough of them will get you it will get you a lot. I mean, here's the progress I've made with Metagross. With 25 cents. In fact, I actually don't need to pick it up. 25 cents opens up Metagross's heart that much. I still need to get the rest of the way. And it's probably going to take me probably less than 10. But for each time you go through the Colosseum, which is about 20,000 Pokédollars, each Vivid Scent about 1,200. So you can imagine you could probably buy. I'm trying to do the math off the top of my head. You could probably buy about 8 of them every time you go through the Colosseum, and you have to go through it at least 5 times to get Shuckle, on top of other Colosseum matches you have, on top of selling the Pokeballs extra Pokeballs you have. I mean, you're just gonna have a ton of money, and this is the way to spend it. In fact, actually, why don't I get Quillfish now, and I can purify it and Raikou. But if you're going to use the daycare, either use either the legendary beasts or Pokemon that are really, really difficult to purify. And I do not need to take Metagross with me. I need to take Quillfish with me. Sorry, Umbreon. So that's my recommendation. Try to use a combination of those two. Use your level 30s, 33s, 40s, even some 43 Pokemon with Mount Battle. If they're kind of close, go ahead and use some Sense to finish off the job. To make sure that they are fully purified if you want to move on to the next Pokemon. Remember, you've got 48 Pokemon to purify. And if you're trading, if you actually have... You can trade Pokemon from the Ruby, Sapphire, Emerald versions with this game. So you have to purify them in order to trade it. But you also need to purify all of them to get the game's final secret, which I will show off. And yes, I can open up Raikou's heart. But yeah, use a combination of these methods. Use the daycare. If you're running low on money, go to Deep Colosseum with your main party and just use that to get money. There's a lot of ways in post-game to purify your Pokemon. Use a combination of these methods. You're gonna get bored just constantly going to Mount Battle. You're gonna get bored just using Sense over and over and over again. You're gonna get bored just by going through Deep Colosseum. So just kind of use a combination of these methods. Just continuously use them, and you will eventually purify all your Pokemon. So once this meter goes up, to 48, I will get back to you guys. So I'm about halfway there. It's gonna take a little while, but keep at it, and you will purify your Pokemon. So see you guys once the purified Pokemon goes to 48. So, after taking care of all of those Pokemon, after much time, I've got all of my Pokemon purified. There are now no more Shadow Pokemon left in the Ore region. They've all been purified. There's nothing in box 3. Every single Pokemon. So now that all the Pokemon have been purified, we can get started on the final portion of the game. And for this, we'll need to restart, so I'll see you guys back at the title screen. So, back at the title screen, remember we have a few different options that we can choose from. What we need to do for the final secret is head on over to the battle mode section for the Colosseum battle. So as we can see, if we have anything connected to a GameCube slot that allows for the Game Boy Advance, we can go to Gang Battle. But we're just going to go solo, because we need to head on over to the Mount Battle versus 100. Actually, first we should register our Pokemon. So I purposefully leveled up all my Pokemon up to level 60. Because what the Mount Battle Challenge will do is that it will take the highest level Pokemon. Ooh. Oh, well, that's from my Sapphire version. I think all of them are level 100 now. You know, I didn't figure that it's saved after reset files. Who knew? So we're gonna go with a double battle. And we're gonna go with the Pokemon that we've registered. So I'm gonna show you guys one battle, and then I'll skip ahead. So how these work is that it kind of acts similar to the regular Mount Battle. We have our first trainer. But we have this little intro thing right here. Now, if you're familiar with Pokemon Stadium, this is going to seem very reminiscent. So as you can see, you can only choose 4 Pokemon to bring into battle. So you have to look at your opponent's Pokemon and choose wisely. If you're going with single battle, you can only choose 3 Pokemon. Since I love double battle so much, this makes things easier on my part. This first battle isn't that hard, so let's go with Typhlosion, Mischievous, Umbreon, and Espeon. Now this just works as a regular battle now. 4 on 4. And we can actually see our opponent's hit points for once. And like I said before, the level of your opponents is equal to the highest level of whichever Pokemon you're bringing. In here, there is no call option, nor can we use items. So our only way of recovering is if we actually use a move. So, say Morning Sun or Moonlight. Those are our only sources of recovery. And there goes Slacker. Okay, Mareep is the next one. This first one, really easy because these are still really weak Pokemon. Alright, let's go with Earthquake. Psybeam, why not? These battles do get harder. Trust me. They do get tougher Pokemon. Alright, so that's 3 Pokemon! Yay! And his last Pokemon is Swinub. Alright, not a problem. Oh, right. Mischievous hasn't attacked yet. And pretty good hit, Mischievous. Let's use Flame Wheel. Shadow Ball, even though it won't get to attack. And there we go. Our first victory at the Mount Battle 100 Challenge from the main menu. And he didn't get a single successful attack in. So how victories work? If you can eliminate all of your opponent's Pokemon without any of your Pokemon fainting, you get a perfect victory. I kind of sped through that real quick because I didn't expect it to pop up on its own. And you get yourself an extra continue. If you've played Pokemon Stadium or Pokemon Stadium 2, this is somewhat reminiscent of that. So, if you lose all of your Pokemon, but you built up continues, you can use one of those continues and battle again. You only get these continues if you beat a trainer without losing any Pokemon. You can take damage as much as you want, just as long as your Pokemon don't faint. So, what's the secret? You gotta get through all 100 trainers. Now, we can suspend our match in case we need to leave and come back later. That's perfectly fine. But we have to keep on battling. We have to get through all these trainers if we want to unravel this game's final secret. So I've shown you guys the first battle. Really easy. Standard. Kind of the differences between it and regular battles in the game. So I will come back to you guys when I'm going to face off against the 100th trainer. It's going to be really pointless if I show off the other 98 battles. It's just the same thing over and over and over again, and you guys are going to get bored really quickly. So I'll see you guys when I get to that 100th trainer.